Hello, Michael Damiani here with Brad Ellis.
Hello.
We're going to be talking about Forspoken.
That's right.
Coming to you January 24th for PC, PlayStation 5. I recently had the opportunity to go over to Square Enix's offices and check out a new build of the game. We got to play through chapters 2, 3, and 5.
Okay.
So the game is broken into chapters. I didn't know it was broken into chapters, so that was the first thing. It was interesting to check out. But each of those chapters kind of had a little bit of a specialty. Chapter 2 is kind of like, welcome to this new world, this world of Athia. Learn your new abilities a little bit. Chapter 3 introduced us to kind of like the hub environment, as well as going out into the open world and exploring a little bit. And in Chapter 5 was really the kind of like, I feel like the showpiece, storming one of the main villains' castles, and confronting them for a little bit of a showdown here. Now to back up just a little bit, Brad.
Yes.
For those of you who aren't familiar, the game stars a young woman named Frey. She's living in New York City. Things aren't going well for her, and she is mysteriously transported to this world of Athia. And that's where the demo started. We've just arrived. We're in this castle. Looks like the back of the castle from like was it like Final Fantasy VI or Dragon Quest? One of the openings of one of the Dragon Quest where it was like this like French looking castle or something to me. It looked like, and you're just walking out on the balcony and like, whoa, where am I? In normal street clothes. It's like, yo, what's going on here? And then you hear the voice talking to you, and you got this cuff around you. You call it cuff. It wants to be called Vambrace. Speaks a little bit like I think I might be wrong, a British accent.
Is it sassy?
It is very sassy.
Okay.
It reminds me a little bit of the book from Nier.
Oh, really?
A little bit. But like very like regal, elegant in its language. And it's funny because the banter between the two of them, you'd think it would get annoying at first. And I'll have to say, through the chapters I played, I feel like that's how it's supposed to feel at first, because you want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, you're like,
you want to get the hell out of here. What is this stupid thing? Why are you stuck on me? Why you can't get it off? And you're frustrated. And eventually you have to come to accept your situations that until you figure out how you got here and how you can get back, you're inseparable.
Yeah. Got it. Kind of that uneasy alliance feeling right off the bat.
Exactly. And there's like she tries to crack jokes, but they're like Earth jokes. And like references to Earth. And eventually she catches on, and he's like, "Oh, another Earth joke? yeah, you know me so well now." It's like, okay, see, later on, like by chapter 5, that they're at that level, and I'm like, okay. But he also, also offers insight into the world.
Sure,
he's a little bit of your guide, and it helps you get your bearings. But there's a bit of mystery too. Obviously, it's like, why is there talking like arm man
why
on
are
me?
you here? Like, what's going on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they do share a little bit of their memories, but they also have some. They're not completely forthcoming, but it also seems to be a little bit of mystery there about their true nature.
Okay.
So that is yet to be revealed. But also, it's the source of your powers.
Okay, that's how you can do all the magic stuff?
Yes, and as you're walking out into the world for the first time, you're walking amongst the ruins of this castle. Big-ass dragon shows up, and you're like, oh shit, there's like monsters in this world, you gotta be careful. Your companion's like, yo, be careful. Like, let's be careful here. And they suggest you find shelter somewhere. So you go out into the world, and she likes animals. Apparently, she had like a foster cat named Homer. That she took in back in New York, and she sees like what looks like a dog out in the field, and she's trying to be like, "Oh, cute doggy," and of course your companion's like, "Sorry,
that's not
might
cute
want to do
doggy."
that," and it turns around, it's the horrific monster-looking thing, and that's where you begin your tutorial to combat.
Okay, I don't know if you ever played it, but it really reminds me of the Infamous games.
A little bit.
How you would free aim, shoot lightning.
It's kind of like that because your charged up earth attack, one of the strats, you encounter a type of enemy later on that have shields, so you can't just hit them head on. It's kind of futile. But if you aim at the ground, it explodes kind of like an eruption earthquake, and will launch them into the air, and now they're vulnerable, and you can like target them when they fall down. There's also, if an enemy gets low enough in health, there's like a finisher prompt. It's the triangle on PlayStation 5. By the way, play the PlayStation 5 version for everyone who's curious. And you run up there and like insta kill them.
Okay.
And you earn experience for battle. And there's like a little experience ring around your character icon at the top that shows up. When it makes a full revolution, you gain a level. You earn mana points, which are then can spend in the magic submenu to unlock and enhance skills. We haven't gone into it yet, but there are other ways to do that. But that's kind of like how the combat system works. Later on, the first boss, like the dragon boss. So after you get to the end, kind of the first area, you're in this area covered by miasma, and you dub it the break. And it basically corrupts anything that's in it, animal, human beings, and they all turn into basically monsters. And this is spread across the whole world. And your companion is basically telling you we need to find shelter, and we should head for this place called Sypha, which is like the last bastion of civilization, which is
Sypho?
C-I-P-H-A, Sypha.
Oh, Sypha. I was like, Sypha Diaz? I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Master Sypha Diaz.
Sypha, okay.
Yeah, it looks like kind of like a mix between medieval Renfear and a little bit like almost like Greek. It's like Romanesque.
Okay.
Sorry. It's like Romanesque meets like medieval, kind of like a blend. Like especially like the
Western Europe?
Centurion guards. They look like Roman legionnaires a little bit. There's also like the council members who are wearing these like really far out designs that look like they're from Bill and Ted, like from the future. I was like, all right, interesting design. It's very unique. It definitely feels like a different world. It definitely feels like a fantasy land, and that's where you're trying to get to. But before you can get there, you fight this giant fire breathing dragon, and that's like your first boss encounter. Really puts your skills to the test. I thought I was gonna get like annihilated. I think they might have toned down the difficulty a little bit for this. But yeah, like you got to use cover, as I said. Sometimes it like has a blind spot. So you got to get like right in front of it when it shoots like all these like fire from its like claws, wings, and its mouth. It's not aiming down, it's aiming forward. So you just get like right under its belly and it's like, oh yeah, I'm safe here and stuff like that. It'll take off into the sky and you'll lose like track of it. You got to like look up and use like kind of like your alert ring to like maybe like catch a glimpse of, oh, it's saying it's this way. Look over there. You got to dodge it and then re-engage with the lock on. It's just getting you acclimated to the basics
systems,
that you need to use here. And after you do that, you eventually are brought into the city, which is funny because you see the civilization, you're like, yo, so we're safe here, and you're immediately imprisoned.
Oh,
you're thrown in. Yeah, you're imprisoned, and essentially you're viewed as a monster. Why? Because you just came out of this like the break, the miasma.
Yeah, they think
you're not corrupted.
Yeah.
So they're like, you got special powers. You must be a monster or something. And so you're aided by someone who gets you out of jail. And they basically tell you, I'll make a deal with you. You do this for me, and I'll help you escape. You agree, and you now are a fugitive. So you start off in the hub town, and think of like any open world game. Maybe Assassin's Creed's probably like the more recent ones are a little bit more familiar. Tons of like venues, NPCs, side quests. There's like a tavern called like I think it's called like the Shady Bar or something, or Shady Tree, I think, where you can talk to the bartender who'll give you information about different people if you want to learn more.
Okay.
There's like a dice game where there are symbols. It's not really a game so much as you just like click the button, throw down a dice, and a symbol appears, and you get like a temporary buff.
You roll for buffs?
You roll for temporary buffs, and you walk out.
How temporary was it? Like 30 minutes?
I wasn't paying attention, but there's side quests there. One of them that I did looked like it was tailor-made for me. Follow a lost stray cat.
Yes.
And it brings you, and I got some kind of like wooden carved toy.
Okay.
Apparently you could trade it to other NPCs, but it didn't really mess around with that.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of talking and dialogue branch stuff where...
Oh, you choose.
So actually, let me back up. It's not really dialogue branches. It's you have multiple options and like you can pick all of them. It's like the list thing.
Okay.
And it's like, talk to me about this. Talk to me about this. So you're not really making choices.
You can talk more and find out more if you want.
But you're going to say, never mind, I want out of here. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Got it.
And then you set out into the open world. So traversal, Brad.
Yeah. Tell me about this. This seems like a big part of the whole game.
Yeah. So the kind of like the free flow movement system feels pretty good.
Okay.
I used it to jump around a bunch of like... early on, I used it to try and jump around a lot of buildings. That was a good training area to get your bearings for not only like dashing across, but also when you should like there's an ability called shimmy, which lets you jump, launch a little bit faster.
Okay.
And again, you have a stamina, so you can't do this forever. But going through the open field, this is like nice just to like run around everywhere. Now you can't just fall down from high spots. Just at least in this build, you would like
get hurt.
Yeah, you didn't want to do that. But for the most, and you couldn't just climb up anything. There was like a certain amount you could go up before it's like
things.
You start to slow down. It's like you probably need some other ability to get higher.
Okay.
But yeah, it just it felt good.
The movement felt good.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you said there's like a stamina meter to do certain things. Is your base speed when you're doing this traversal thing pretty good?
Oh.
Like, did you feel like I'm going way too slow?
So there's your normal walk speed.
Yeah.
There is a normal sprint button, like L3.
Okay.
And then there's your flow ability.
Okay.
So you do have 3 movement speeds.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty good.
How did you think the flow speed, the amount of time you had with it at the start was pretty good?
I didn't even realize I was running out. I don't think I ever ran out of stamina except in combat for
doing moves and stuff.
Yeah, because I was like doing too much stuff. But just freeforming, I really wasn't.
Cool. Okay.
But again, if you've seen any of the trailers, there are way more advanced traversal abilities that were not available.
Yeah, you're super
yet.
early from
so
what
this
you
was
played.
super early.
Cool.
But there are a lot of points of interest. So that was my concern: is it just gonna be fighting random stuff out in the open world?
Right.
And there are a lot of like things to fight.
Yeah, but you want the world to be interesting and like incentive to explore and all that stuff.
So they got a few points of interest. They got like rest spots. These like abandoned pilgrim houses where you go inside, you can rest, get full healed. There are usually notes left behind.
Okay, if you want some lore.
Maybe some extra like materials for you, especially healing potions are generally found in there. There are these monuments, and if you read them, some of them you have to do something to like kind of like clean them off. Like one was covered in debris and just like shoot something to break it off.
Okay.
And when you read the inscription, you get a permanent like stat increase.
Oh.
At least the one I did. It gave me like a strength
so you
increase.
get some reward for
Yeah.
Okay. That's
there
cool.
are also these like challenges scattered about where some of them are like race to like a goal line or beat a certain amount of enemies, and after you complete it, you're ranked with a score, and depending on your score, you'll be rewarded more. Usually it was in mana points. And again, mana points are what you use to unlock your magic skills.
Yeah.
And then there were these fountains. These kind of like these like little like I don't want to say like fairy fountains like Zelda, but like they look like these little ponds, and you jump into them. Those will also grant you a brand new magical ability.
Oh,
so it was another way to expand your magic skill
without
tree.
spending.
Yeah. So this was in conjunction with that. So you're gonna need to do that to unlock new ones, and then the points will
be like upgrade
enhance.
them.
And there apparently was another way to enhance your spells by completing something else that I didn't really mess with. Then probably the most intriguing thing, Brad, were these kind of like labyrinth dungeons.
Yes,
they're like surrounded by like this cage, and you approach it, and there's like a little like glowing portal. You go down. To me, it was just a linear path with rooms with a lot of enemies, kind of like challenge rooms, and there was like a boss encounter
At the end?
Yeah, and the one I fight was looked like a Leviathan looking, like traditional Leviathan, like a squiddy looking thing, a Kraken more like, I guess is a better way to put it. And there were like these little like islands of land around it, and like this like water, like a lake in the middle, but it's all underground in a cavern. And it basically would shoot out like water saws at me, and then like make a water eruptions happen.
Cool.
And then sometimes it would like dive under and run off to another spot, and you have to like use your flow to get over there. Now I didn't have any. I've seen in a trailer you can run on water. Couldn't do that yet.
Yeah. So
when I went in the water, you got to swim.
Oh yeah.
So you slow down at this point. So I didn't have that. Definitely. It took like a while to get used to it, but it felt like just standing your ground and like charging up, unleashing attacks did the most damage, and then you trusting in your flow to dodge. It looks so cool when you dodge.
Yeah,
by the way.
from what I've seen,
all these kicks and flips.
The animations look really fun.
It's really nice looking. Like just getting around and seeing all these environments. Like it looked, there was so much. They were trying to urging us to maybe not go off too far and explore because of the limited amount of time we had. But there was so much. It's huge. It feels huge, and I really want to give a shout out to the map. It's like a 3D map. Looks like traditional. Looks almost 2D from the overhead perspective, but you can zoom in, and it gets like topographical and like gets 3D.
Oh, okay.
And I think it more accurately represents what you're looking at. Most maps you look at, it's like a traditional map. It's not like a one-to-one recreation. So sometimes it's not as easy to gain your bearings. Like, oh, I'm going north, but
yeah, very detailed.
But
map
in this
then.
one, like I remember using it right outside the main, out of the main hub town, and seeing it there. I'm like, oh god, yeah, it looks just like the damn town. And the wall I just crossed over. Oh, and there's something over this hill. Like it made it seem to me was easier to process. It was super quick to toggle, filter things, go to a point, like mark it as your point of interest. And some things you can like activate from the map, like obviously fast travel, but some challenge things you can just, I want to do this from the map. You've already been there, fast warp right to it. So fast loading, by the way.
Really fast loading?
Oh, yeah.
Love it. So the world, there's lots of stuff to do out there. How is it indicated to you where it is? Are there little markers on the map?
So,
or do you have to find stuff?
So you will have a Assassin's Creed style. There'll be like a diamond-shaped icon that's like your main objective, and then you can set secondary ones that show up in purple. I forget how many max you could set up, but like I did like 2 at one point. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go over here, then I'm gonna go to this way mark. They show up on your screen, and like the horizon basically.
Okay.
So like when you turn, like it doesn't have like the number thing up the top, like it does have like the compass, but you'll see them. It's pretty obvious, but. And like a lot of open world games have been doing lately, if you consult your little companion, your little cuff companion, he might illuminate the path forward for you, like a little sparkle, like a little glitter path,
letting you know
that'll illuminate up and like kind of like fade off, but like you can follow it. Also, if you're in an area and you're like, I'm here, but what am I looking for? Scan ability.
Yeah,
like every open world's doing it. You just hold down the button, or like just send out a pulse, or highlight points of interest.
Okay.
And you can go investigate as well.
Did you still get a nice sense of discovery though, or anything like that?
Yeah,
and exploration.
I feel like the when you get to like a spot, like I used the scan more in the early part because you're like in these ruins of this ruined town where there's no one alive, and it's like, oh, well, maybe you should like look around a bit and see what you can find. So I was using it a lot there, but once I got into the open world, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be using it that much. Like,
got it.
Maybe if there's like as a quest telling me to go find something and I can't find it, maybe that's when it'd be a good point to use it. But it's there if you want it.
Okay.
You don't obviously you can just like ignore it, and if you just want to explore on your own. Wish I had more time with the exploration, and wish I had more traversal abilities because the trailers just show so much off that I want to try out because it feels like it's so basic right now.
Yeah.
The final part. Yeah. Chapter 5. Chapter 5, you are storming the fortress of the first villain. So this world is governed by these 4 women called the Tantas. And you're going after the first one. She kind of showed up earlier and wreaked havoc and did something very evil. Like they're supposed to be saviors, but clearly this person is not a savior. Yeah. And for some reason they're pissed at you. They want you, and they want to kill you. They want you to show up, and like that's their demand. Is like come with me. So you seek them out. It's kind of like a hellscape leading up to it. It's like this land is covered like in flames. I don't know what the hell happened, but it's like this fiery inferno everywhere, and you gotta like make your way up to her throne room. And once you reach like the gates of the castle, it kind of presents you with like multiple path options. Like there's like a direct approach. You can go like up a backside through the cliffs. At least that's where I went. I think there are multiple ways, but they showed me like 3 different routes.
Was it like you choose like a list?
So it was the dialogue list again. It said like, what about this way? What about this way? And camera would pan in and zoom into that spot, and your companion would be like, give you some commentary. Well, there's always a straightforward path. Probably a lot of guards that way. Oh, the cliff. That seems like a pretty good approach. Maybe we could sneak in. I'm like, oh yeah, this is like Elden Ring. Like, first, I was like, all right, and then like there's another way. I'm like, okay. So you make your way up there, a bunch of enemies to fight. Like there's some dudes, like they're like these flying bird things. They're the normal like sentries with their swords and shields that like you had to fight earlier. Giant like kind of like beast looking things, like demon looking things that you got to fight. Some dudes have like ballistas that fire like flaming arrows at you, and like it felt like you really needed to combine everything you had learned at that point just to like get there. And then you confront like the boss, and it was like 2 phases basically. She summons like soldiers, fire multitude of projectiles at you. You're first in a closed kind of like throne room environment, so it's more close quarters, but you're using your range, so you got to do a lot of dodging. She's very aggressive. like your companion just like, maybe you should use the pillars a little bit, but like, she can break them as well, so you can't just hide behind them forever.
So some mechanics tied into these boss fights.
Yeah, and then her second form is you're just fighting more in like a wrecked environment. And I liked what they did at the end. It was kind of like a fight or flight moment. And maybe I misread it, but like I think the thing was to get you to panic because it felt like the entire environment was covered in lava and you're slowly dying.
Ooh.
But they're near death too. But I'm like, we're safe ground. And my cuff told me, my partner said, like, calm down. Focus on defeating them like that. Like that's what you need to do. End it, and it ends this. Because I wanted to go scurry and find stuff, and he's like, "No, stay and fight." Like, DPS race. And I was like, "All right, I'm trusting you, bud." Yeah. And like, but you can also jump and stuff. So it's like, yeah, like it was a little bit obvious, but it felt like the first part was a little, I'll be honest, a little underwhelming. But again, they might have turned the difficulty down. I imagine a harder difficulty just might have been way more of a challenge. But the second part was way more intense.
Okay.
A little bit more grand and spectacle. And I was like, okay,
this sounds like still pretty early game too.
Yeah. And by defeating them, you gain a new type of magic.
Probably fire,
and it's
I
the red magic,
yeah.
and that is where apparently the melee combat and a bunch of fire attacks.
Okay.
And you're going to be evolving them. And they've already talked about in their videos, there's 4 types of magic that you're going to get. There's green and blue later on. You're going to get more traversal abilities, and they're all going to come together. And it's like everything I see in the trailers is like, I got a small taste of that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm very curious. This got me very curious, and I want to play more.
Yeah, that's good.
I definitely want to play more.
That's good.
Because I want to get to that point.
We just got everything. Yeah.
Combat takes some while to get used to, and the fact they're going to be adding more and more, I think there's going to be a bit of a learning curve.
Sure.
So it's definitely a different type, especially if you're used to more traditional like Final Fantasy combat.
Yeah.
This is not really
much
like
more
that.
action based.
Yeah. Like the closest thing I could say that you might remember is when you Final Fantasy 15's Magic, where you like toss grenade things. It's like not quite that, but like think about that. You have to like aim, and it's a little bit more,
a little more involved.
Yeah, it's not just like hack and slash.
But
at least right now,
they look really cool.
Yeah,
all the spells and everything.
My biggest question is whether or not they can get like that performance nailed down.
Totally.
Because in an open world game, it's pretty much
important,
make or break. I think the character interactions will grow on you.
Okay.
Between the main character and your companion, didn't see enough of the NPCs just yet. There was one I did really like, but the other ones, I don't know if they got enough screen time to really make a judgment on there.
Yeah, sure.
Didn't really mess with the crafting a lot, so I don't know how deep that really goes. I mean, because there's materials all throughout the world to gather.
Okay.
But yeah, it has some interesting concepts, and obviously
like what
3 hours of playing is not
just
enough time.
Tiny bit, yeah.
So definitely feel a little bit more intrigued about it now that I've gotten my hands on with it, but I still have some concerns and still have some questions. And yeah, but won't have to wait too long.
Yeah, pretty soon
to see more of it. A little over a month away from it coming out. And I will say this: I really do like the main character.
Cool,
Frey.
Great.
I really like her. I love how she reacts to everything. It's like, I don't give a shit about your stuff. Like why do I need to? It's like, yeah, like why are you taking everything at face value? It's kind of like not quite the extreme of bullshit. Like
not Jack Garland.
It's not Jack Garland level of like we're laughing in the face of everything.
Yeah.
But it's more like I'm questioning, like a character who questions everything. Like, why is it? Do I really have to do it this way? Like, has a bit of an attitude. Obviously, didn't get the full scale of it. Didn't get the full. I don't know what happened in the intro, so can't pass full judgment there.
Yeah.
But what I've saw so far
has potential.
Cool. And also didn't really get to pay attention too much to the music.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Hopefully hopefully it's pretty good. I like open world games should have some like nice epic.
Oh, of
music.
course. Gotta have nice music always.
Is there anything I didn't like? Any questions before we wrap up here?
No. Like my biggest question, I guess, but you kind of answered it, was just like the traversal. Because every time I see this game, it's such a big part of her just moving through the world.
Yeah, and like there's so much in the world that looks like you can interact with it. And when we watched that trailer, we watched a few trailers before we started recording this. And one of them showed something like a rope ability on one of these rock formations. Like, oh, that's what that's for.
Yeah, but you didn't have it yet.
Because there's so much out there. I'm like, can I do something with this? And it's clearly designed with like your even the early environments. I think are designed with like once you have all your abilities, you're gonna be able to do some really cool looking
go back stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I look forward to that because that looks to me that is the most promising part. There's potential with the combat system. I need to see all of it come together. So because otherwise, right now it's kind of like
you're just getting
it's a little clunky.
Yeah,
with just range magic right now.
Yeah,
I feel like it needs more.
It'll come together when you probably get more of them.
Yeah. And some of the support stuff didn't always click. It didn't feel like it was am I doing this right? Did it work? Maybe it just takes practice. Obviously too early to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. We'll hopefully be checking it out next month when it launches. But otherwise, thank you so much, Brad. And for those of you who support us on Patreon, thank you. If not, consider becoming a patron. Even just $1 a month helps us out. Otherwise, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like, ring the bell. Leave us a comment what you think about this. Any questions that we didn't answer, throw them in there. Maybe we'll get to them. But yeah, thank you for watching. Take it easy.